Hey there, guys. Piper Downs, back with you guys for another little video here for a little first impression action. And I'm smoking some of this this Gawith and Hoggarth rum flake. Come pretty wet in the bag because it's bulk. I bought it by the ounce, and it come pretty damned wet. But it smelled like buttered rum. You know, it smelled like butter or coconut and rum. So good. I mean, I totally understand why sailors stored their tobacco in rum. But anyway, I let it dry for about a half hour, and went ahead and packed it up. Now, I did smoke a little bit of it yesterday. And I must say, at first you definitely get all the delicious sweetness from the rum. It's, practically darn near an aromatic, I would say, but it's not quite. You definitely get that nice Virginia. It's not bitey for me at all. I dried it. Man, it's been burning wonderfully. A nice clean white ash, and the embers nice and springy. I really like this stuff. I would buy it again. Pretty dark tobacco. Dried out fine. It wasn't like it was, it wasn't goopy or anything. It dried out to a nice Virginia flake type, consistency, and still smelled really good. I mean, you can definitely taste the rum, but I can also taste that it's a Gawith flake. You know how they have that kind of that Lakeland essence to them. I can definitely taste that a little bit. It's a very pleasant smoke. I wasn't big on the rum. I wasn't really big on the rum flavorings, or I didn't think I would be. But since I've been trying them, I'm actually a big fan. Of the rum-topped Virginias. Virginia flakes that are rum-topped, or Navy flakes. They're really good. And this one is probably the most heavily topped rum tobacco I've had so far. I haven't had one that was like straight up. I mean, you can tell that it's been topped. Whereas Sam Gawith's Navy Flake, you don't really get that rum smell. I don't know. It's like this. They legit like aged it in rum or something. Whereas the Navy Flake by Sam Gawith, they just added a little bit, I think. But definitely, I would recommend this. Pipe's a little bit hot, but the smoke isn't hot. It's not giving me tongue bite or any sort of discomfort. Anyway, I got some mail today, or I got some a package today from Amazon. It's a new lift pump for my Dodge, my Cummins. This is the box. It actually doesn't even have I thought it was the wrong part because I seen this one on the side. I'm thinking, don't you dare tell me they sent me the wrong part. But no. This is the part. Because everything's mechanical on my truck. I have a 12 valve. It doesn't have an electronic fuel pump. It has a mechanical one that runs this piston gets pushed back and forth by a lobe on the camshaft, and that's how it pumps it. to the engine. And I didn't know if it was going to come with a gasket or not, so I ordered a gasket, another one. And you know, I probably could have got away with not having to replace this, but I was just thinking, you know, I may as well. And apparently the original company that Cummins used to make these lift pumps was Carter. So that's who I ordered it from. Cummins doesn't use them anymore, though, apparently. But I was thinking that they were an American-made company. They're not anymore. They're made in Turkey. But you know what, though? Cummins' stuff is made in China. At least their version of that lift pump is made in China, and it costs twice as much. This one was $80, which isn't a bad price. But tomorrow I'm going to be putting that in. The thing is, though, is that I thought I was going to need a gasket, which I didn't, but also I'm deleting the fuel heater off of the truck. Because what it is it has this mechanical lift pump that pulls the fuel from the tank. But before, you know, it has a hose that runs from the tank to this, but in between this and the tank, there's a fuel heater. And the fuel heater is mounted right next to it. They're actually mounted on the same two bolts. They're mounted on these two bolts. So when you delete the fuel heater, you take this off and you remove the entire fuel heater, you know, because the fuel heater mounts underneath this. This goes on top of it. So you take this off, you take off the fuel heater, but then when you go to put this back on, there's a space for where that fuel heater was. There's a space, and the bolts are too long. So I ordered a spacer to make up the difference between that fuel heater and the engine block. Because I live in Florida, I don't need a fuel heater. The fuel heater is literally only for situations where you're in freezing temperatures. It doesn't get freezing temperatures where I live. I think maybe once or twice in my entire life have I seen 32 degrees, and it wasn't snowing. It was just a little frost on the roofs, but that was it. So I'm just deleting the whole fuel heater because it's just a problem. It's the most likely, that's where fuel leaks happen, is in that fuel heater. And what's weird is the fuel line that runs along the frame from the fuel tank isn't just one solid rubber hose. It's like a 3-foot section of hose that hooks up to a metal tube or a metal hose or metal line that runs along the frame, and then another rubber hose comes from that metal line off of the frame to the fuel pump or to the fuel heater, which then goes to the fuel pump. So there's like 5 or 6 different connections for the one line, which is insane to me. Plus the fuel heater is like several different connections. So what I'm doing is totally removing the fuel heater and hooking the fuel line straight to the fuel lift pump. And what that's going to do is it's going to eliminate all those possible leak sources from the fuel heater. But then again, but at the same time, though, I still have those 2 connections for where the rubber line hooks up to the metal line on the frame, and where it comes from the metal line to the fuel pump. The rubber line that comes from the frame line to the fuel pump. And I seen there's a kit. It's like $160, but it comes with like one continuous marine grade rubber hose that runs from your tank to your pump. So there's only 2 connections, at the tank and at the pump. So those are your only 2 sources of a leak. So I was thinking, geez, you know, that'd be awesome. Once I get the fuel heater deleted and get all that stuff situated, get that part of the fuel system, and a little bit later on down the road when I have the money, I'll replace the fuel lines that run along the frame. Because right now the metal lines are rusted almost straight through. The guy who owned it before me lived on the beach, like literally lived on the beach. And the underside of my truck is it's atrocious. It's atrociously rusty. And that fuel line, it's damn near rusted through. So I'm glad that I found that fuel line replacement kit. And also, my damned fuel gauge doesn't work because the stupid sending unit inside the gas tank with the float switch, it gets loose right here at the joint, right here at the hinge. And what happens is it comes off this metal trackpad that measures where the float switch is at. It's basically like a little metal pad that changes its voltage when the float switch moves. And that's how it can tell, where the hell the float switch is at. Well, the float switch, the hinge comes loose to where it doesn't touch that metal trackpad. So it won't give me a reading. So when I drop the gas tank or the fuel tank to redo those lines, the frame fuel lines, I'll fix that all I got to do is go in there. I can do it without buying anything. I could do it with like I forget what it is that you use, but you just use something to is like a spacer basically, because it gets loose and you just want it to hold tight. I won't even have to replace the float switch or nothing. I'll just be able to fix it myself. Hopefully. Typically they can be fixed. They just get a little worn and need to be adjusted. So I'm gonna do the fuel pump tomorrow probably, and then I'll probably do the fuel line that runs along the frame somewhere down the road in the next month or two. And once I get this fuel system issue sorted out, I'm getting the transmission redone or replaced possibly. I don't have reverse, and the transmission was slipping in overdrive like a week or two ago when I had the trailer on. So I don't know, I just need to get a new transmission for it. But once I do that and get the fuel system fixed, it's going to be an awesome work truck. And it's so nice to just have a problem and just see what you have to do and just do it. You know what I mean? It's like an issue that I can fix, and it's nice when a problem is something that you have the money, you buy the parts and you fix it, You see what the problem is and you do it. And basically what I'm doing is rather than going through and trying to fix every little connection of the fuel system, I'm just getting rid of several of the connections. Because I bought a gasket that would fix it, what's going on, the leak. But I realized that gasket would just be a quick fix. It would just be delaying the inevitable. Whereas I just need to get rid of the whole fuel heater. So that's where I'm at. I've just been kind of lounging around the last couple days waiting for these parts. Because I definitely have some work to do. But anyway, guys, this rum flake is good stuff. I really do like it. I'm surprised. I didn't think I was going to like it this much. But I wouldn't mind having a couple ounces of this on hand at all times. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Piper Downs, over and out.